Okay, excellent. All right, well, let's go ahead and get going. So we're going to be talking today about looking for part-time work. So as we're going through this particular session, by the end of it, you should be able to list the three components of an effective job search. You'll be able to identify the services and resources that are available to help you during your job search process, and be able to list some of the strategies that are available to access the hidden job market. And we'll certainly be speaking more about that. So before we even begin to start thinking about how do you go looking for work, I wanted to talk a bit about COVID-19 and its effects on the world of work. We certainly have to acknowledge all those changes, both to your learning and any kind of work you would have because of the pandemic. For many of you, pretty much all of your learning is going to be online. I know some of the programs have some of their practical components on the campuses, but for some programs it's exclusively online. Certainly your lectures are. So, and in fact, if our two participants would like to tell us what programs you're in, I'm just always curious as to what programs students are in that are participating. That would be great. You don't have to, but if you'd like to let us know, that would be great. So, work has certainly changed as well, and it's going to still keep changing as we go forward. This is really unknown territory for us. In career services, as I said, we're 100% remote. We're a 100% remote team. Everything is online. And I can tell you it really took some adapting for us to be able to adapt all of our other services that we had in person and take all of those and in the classrooms and take it online. So as you look for part-time work, you're also really going to need to be resourceful, but when looking for jobs, some are the same, some you need to look for differently. And another component is it's really important to feel safe. So you need to be prepared for extra safety measures, both during the job search, interviewing, and if you're out working in a job. You also need to keep in mind that because of this crisis, you really may find some new and different opportunities than you normally would expect out there, or even that you maybe in the past would have considered looking for. So some questions for you to consider are you willing to work remotely? And even with many safety procedures in place, are you comfortable meeting people in person out in public? Are you okay with working in a healthcare setting? That's another level of comfort for individuals depending on your background. Oh, here we go. So right now we're going to just pop up with, Natalie's popped up a poll. Have you started looking for part-time work? One yes, one no. Okay, excellent. Pop that one down. Good to know. Thank you, Natalie. So I wanted to start out with taking a look at the job search process, giving it an overview. There are really three critical components that you can use that will really help you and guide you in your job search. And knowing these three different things, and those are know yourself, know the market, know the process, and we're going to go into those in detail, will really identify the type of work that is going to be a good fit for you. It'll allow you to tailor your job search strategy so it's getting you the leads that you want, and to help you prepare for the application and the interview stages. We're going to look at each one individually and how they lead into the others. We'll start off with know yourself. It'll really help in choosing the right work that you have for you. So really answering the 5 W's of job search. So what kind of work do you want to do? What can you do? Or what would you like to be doing? Who do you want to work for? Where do you want to work? Or do you like working in smaller or larger places? Do you prefer working from home, online? Trying to really think in those terms. And why do you want to do a particular job or role in a particular company? When are you going to be available? What kind of obligations do you have? Because you do have to consider those. And so what types of jobs would be best depending on what your class schedule is, or what you may have some family obligations at home. In addition, depending if you're an international student, you may have some work permit restrictions. So those are things to think about when you're looking for a position. And knowing the answers to all of those sorts of things will really help you to determine your preference and be realistic about your needs. It also allows you to effectively prepare your job search documents and to prepare for your interviews. And then it clarifies the value you're going to bring to an employer, your skills, your qualifications, your experience, your values, which are your standards and principles and ethics. Knowing yourself. Having self-knowledge is really the first step. It's so much of a first step in many of the parts of career services as we work with different students. So, and here, self-knowledge is really the very first step and important step for your job search. The more you know about yourself, that you're marketing, the easier it will be to market to an employer. Because after all, when you're looking for a job and engaging with employers, whether it's your resume, your cover letter, or eventually an interview, you're really promoting yourself to them and letting them know of how you can be of value to them. And that would be why they would consider employing you. They won't know what value you are unless you tell them. So what skills, what experience and education are you going to bring to them that would be useful for that particular position? So to do that, consider your previous education or where you are right now, jobs you've had, projects you've done, volunteer roles that you've had in the past, and think in terms of how they would meet the requirements for the job you're looking for. In some cases, you may not have the exact experience for a position that an employer would like you to have, but if they say you can have related experience, then you're looking at what we would call transferable skills. And you would be utilizing those same skills they want in this particular job for a job that you, or a volunteer position, or a project that you've done in the past. So if it's communication skills, if it's writing skills, if it's verbal one-on-one communication skills, interpersonal skills, organization skills, we use those in so many parts of our life. No matter what we're doing, whether we're in school, whether we're in a part-time job, a volunteer position on sports teams, you use a lot of the same skills that you need in a job in other parts of your life. And you can talk about how you've used those skills because you do have experience using those skills. So also keep in mind that your work education or experience that you have from outside of Canada, if you have that, can be really valuable in a new job search. And you can include that info and how you market yourself to an employer, both in your resume, your cover letter, and in an interview. So what type of work would you find interesting? Well, you could consider the standard types of things of retail, maybe, food and beverage, hospitality, IT, healthcare, some other area you're not sure at this point. Well, that's probably why you're here. And I'm going to be giving you some ideas in some areas that, as I said, you may not have even thought about as options. And they may still not be a fit for you, but there are some areas that have popped up, particularly as a result of COVID, that might be job possibilities. Also keeping in mind, knowing yourself, what are your strengths and your weaknesses? Your strengths, what are you good at? Consider what you could share with an employer so they could figure out how you would be able to come and help them Would it be, as I said, maybe your problem solving skills, your interpersonal skills? You know what your strengths are, um, those things that you're really good at. What really makes it a strength is not only something you're good at, but you really enjoy doing it. Because in a way, you can keep doing it. It gives you energy to do that. You like doing that type of work. Those are the best type of strengths to have. But you also need to understand your weaknesses or any limitations you have, because that'll help you focus on where you're going to find employment and where you're going to be the most successful. If you're going to have limitations, I mean, for instance, how much time are you going to have? How much spare time do you have for a part-time job while you're going to school? How many hours a week could you actually work? I mean, most part-time jobs can be a commitment of anywhere from 5, 10, 15 hours per week or maybe more. So you need to think about what you're limited by before you even, as you're starting to look, keeping that in mind. You also need to look at comfort level. Are you comfortable in person, or do you only really want to do more remote work? And if you are comfortable working in person, are you more comfortable working maybe with a small group that you would be working with continuously, or more with public interactions with a lot of customers coming and going in the environment that you were in? So knowing the next step we're going to look at in job search is knowing the market. And we're going to be taking a look at who's hiring, the importance of location, pay to consider, and talking about related experience. So who is hiring? The big question. How are you going to find that out? One of the things that actually, if you wouldn't mind popping it up right now, just so we have it up and we may put it again, can you pop up the link to GB Careers while we're at? Because that's going to be one place to see who is going to be doing some hiring as well. GB Careers, for anybody who wouldn't know, is our online job posting board, and they have all types of jobs, including part-time positions as well, that you can keep an eye out for, as well as seasonal positions that may be coming up soon too. So I popped up some logos here just to start you thinking about different types of industries and places that may be hiring around the city. And the other thing, as you're looking to get an idea of who's out there, you can be looking online. GB Careers is a possible way to be looking, job boards, and we'll talk a bit more about that. The other thing too is, depending what type of job you're looking for, go for walks around your neighborhood, look around. It's really nice to be able to be employed within a short distance of where you live. And sometimes as you are talking with people, and we'll again a bit more about that, you may find people in your neighborhood who are looking for people to work for them. Who's hiring? Well, at this point, still within the hospitality industry, hotels for certain, in addition to reception. They're employing a lot of cleaners. Everybody, that's one of the positions as a result of COVID that has really skyrocketed, and that's in cleaners and housekeeping and in many different industries, because they have to really keep the surfaces cleaned a lot more often, sometimes in between use of each person, or just they're required during a certain period of time to make sure that they're constantly cleaning areas. So not surprisingly, that's been an area when you go looking around, you'll find that a number of industries are looking for cleaners. The food industry. Grocery stores are still essential services. No matter what, they're going to be open. Everything, as you can see here, from Metro to No Frills, Sobeys, Loblaws. They're not only maybe looking for cashiers and stockers, they're all hiring personal shoppers. I know when I go to my local grocery stores, I always see personal shoppers pushing parts around, filling orders for people to do as pickup. So they will continue to be doing that as time goes on. And I was just going to comment, you're probably aware from the news that the numbers of COVID infection levels are up again and going up. So we're not sure exactly how that's going to impact a number of industries. We have to see what the Ontario government decides to do as far as perhaps if they decide to put restrictions in. However, at this point, all of the essential services will stay open, and that for sure would be the grocery stores. So the reason I mentioned COVID-19 is you can still be looking for restaurants. However, that's kind of an iffy kind of area at this point, because not only are we going to see what happens from any type of government announcements in the short term coming up, the other issue is a lot of them had outdoor patios and they've had to close them, or they will be closing them now and only being restricted inside. Oh, great. Thank you for popping that up, Natalie. Four Seasons Whistler is coming for an information session on October 14th. Great. Good info to have up there. So there's always the fast food restaurants. They'll be open as well for no matter what as part of the industry. Food delivery is huge, as you probably know, whether it's delivery with Uber Eats or Skip the Dishes. They're often looking for delivery people, whether you have your own car or within the city of Toronto. A number of students end up doing delivery jobs and do that on their bike or a scooter. Easier to get around. Retail is kind of in the same category as restaurants. We'll have to wait and see how things go with any sort of restrictions. Another area would be working as a security guard or concierge. Keep in mind, you need a security license to do security. There's a lot of general delivery going on. I mean, you may be getting a lot of deliveries to you. We certainly get a lot more deliveries than we did pre-COVID. And there's a lot of small courier services that are out there that do quick, short-term, across-town deliveries. In fact, I came across one. It's at the bottom there. You see Tolindo deliveries. I think they guarantee a 30-minute delivery of small different packages, and you can work for them and drive your own car or your own scooter. However, they have a fleet of electric scooters that they use to have people do their deliveries around the GTA, or they're more in the downtown Toronto area. If you look at the bottom left, you'll see the three leaves on the little logo. That's actually for a retirement home called Riviera. Most people wouldn't think in terms of probably working for a retirement home unless they were in healthcare. However, they also need dishwashers and servers and housekeeping aides, which are cleaners. They need admin support, especially if you have some background in admin support or reception. They need receptionists. They need general helpers around their different homes. And a number of different retirement homes they need general help for those types in that particular industry. With more specialized experience, you can also look at healthcare. Right now, the industry, everybody in that industry, from hospitals to home care to retirement homes to long-term care to community care services, they're all looking for personal support workers. And one of the reasons I put this up is, again, I'm not sure what your programs are. However, for students that are in the registered nursing or the practical nursing program and have completed 1 year of their studies and have done one clinical placement, they can apply for PSW positions. And the industries they'll take any hours anyone can work, whether it's part-time, full-time. They're in need, and they're looking at having an increased need coming up over the fall and winter. As well, if you are a trained nurse or physician and you're in a program here at George Brown training, whatever it may be, you can work as a PSW in many of the organizations. Keep in mind, though, you have to be comfortable doing that. They do supply personal protection equipment. But if you yourself have somebody at home who's elderly or immunocompromised, that may be of concern to you. Housekeeping positions, as I said, with under code, cleaners, a lot of positions in a lot of public use areas. Warehousing positions with Amazon. I know they may have closed those by now, but there were a number of positions open quite recently. Moving companies. Community centers have reopened, and they're would be hiring or possibly looking for screeners coming more and cleaners, because they are community centers with with public use. If you like animals, you could consider being a dog walker or a pet sitter. That seems to be needed with either individuals working from home or a number of people are going back into the office now and need help with their animals. Another area that's come up is that I've seen ads for is tutoring or assisting students with their online learning, with a number of grade. Excellent. Okay, thank you for popping that in, Joseph. He just added in the minimum wage is $14.25 per hour. Is that for the Four Seasons Whistler position, or is that in general? Oh, actually, is it up? Because minimum wage is 14. Has it gone up? Whoa, I didn't realize it's gone up 5 cents. Well, there you go. Good to know. Thank you, Joseph. As of October 1st. Woo! I missed that one. Thank you for letting me know. Perfect. If we could just get it up to 15, that would be really nice. However, we'll take 14.25 for starters. What was I going to say? Oh, the tutoring or assisting in online learning. I've been seeing some ads in places for parents who don't have the time to be assisting their kids. Maybe they're grade school students who are doing online learning rather than going into the classroom. And they would like someone who could sit with their children and help them with their online learning, so they'll do it effectively and understand what they need to be doing. You may even want to consider, make sure you're talking with your neighbors, especially wherever you are. Just striking up a conversation sometimes will lead to a job possibility or learning about a job that's out there. You may find parents talking about how difficult it is. They don't have the time to, or the knowledge in some cases, to be able to help their kids, and their kids are getting really frustrated. It might be a possibility that you could come up with a tutoring position and an assistance position, if that's something you'd be comfortable doing. Of course, remote jobs, those would be more online customer service or online help desk. And coming up, there is going to be some increased government funding for some student jobs programs. And most of those look like they probably will be coming up in the winter at this point. I know they just announced they had the throne speech, and the Prime Minister announced some funding for youth employment and skills program, and that would probably be in the winter. So if you're eligible for something like that, you can go on the government website to look for any kind of youth employment programs that are being funded by the federal government. And that seems to change every day. And I think it's going to continue to change as we go forward. And to keep your eyes open, just this past summer, the government funded a project called Pivot 2020, and they ended up hiring 1,200 student or young people across Canada to do research and information gathering for that project. You never know when they're going to be popping up a position there. So what to consider? We're going to be taking a look at location, and let's start with location. One of the things you want to do in finding a job is make sure that you can easily access it, because if you can easily access it, and it's not going to be a really long, difficult commute, especially as winter starts coming, you'll be a much more reliable worker and a happier employer, well, for sure. If you have a car, it gives you a much wider range of possibilities, as you probably know, but there are also plenty of part-time jobs available more in the downtown area. It's a big city, so again, when you're looking for positions, especially if you're looking online, see where it is. You really would, it's better if you can work closer and while you're going to school and not spending a lot of your time commuting to get where you're going. Your schedule. When would you be able to work? So make sure you're looking at jobs that are offering times that are useful for you. Some positions may end up requiring some night shifts, and others offer early morning shifts, weekends, holidays. Make sure you can commit to shifts before you're actually going to be taking on that type of a job. And I know I've talked with students who have worked night shift. I've seen those students after they've worked night shift. It's tough working a night shift and then going to school during the day. It's hard to keep your eyes open. It's hard to be alert and engaged in your classes. So keep in mind, although it's tempting, it is a real tough haul to do. I've seen students do it, but be prepared if you do it. It really does impact your ability, I think in most cases, for people to get their schoolwork done. If you don't want it to be a bad fit, I would consider looking for primarily evenings and weekends. And if you're an early morning person, you could even consider an early shift at Starbucks or any other coffee places, Tim's, for instance. We're looking at pay. And thank you very much, Joseph. I was about to tell you the minimum wage was 14, but as of yesterday, it is now $14.25. A number of jobs will pay more, though. It's pretty wide, depends on the type of job. So try and see if it's a job that you would be happy working within and hopefully offer the income that you need. There are probably more jobs right now, a number still in construction and healthcare, which is an essential service, but you have to be comfortable working or be able to work in both of those types of industries. So related experience. Having the necessary experience required to do work at some part jobs is important, and it's required. So make sure that you're just looking for jobs and applying for jobs that really are a good fit. If they say you really have to have particular qualifications, then save yourself the application time. You don't want to waste your time looking for jobs that you really won't be considered at. Some employers would really prefer directly related experience. I mean, that's more appealing for them if they don't have to do training in a particular type of industry. However, if a job ad says that they are happy to take you with related experience for retail or warehouse jobs, then you can go ahead and apply for those. Again, you'll be using those transferable skills from other jobs, whether volunteer positions, other work, school, that really illustrate whatever the skills you would need for that, whatever they put in their job posting. Communication skills, team working skills, organizational skills. Knowing the process. So really knowing how to look for work. And to do that, use a mixture of job search strategies. The more you use, the better. And those will allow you to find both visible opportunities and hidden opportunities. And those we refer to, those hidden opportunities are the hidden job market. Looking first at visible opportunities, those are the ones most people are familiar with. Those are the online job postings, maybe employer agencies or social media postings, anything that really is publicly accessible for everyone to see are considered the visible opportunities. But in addition to those, and really most of the opportunities that are out there are really hidden types of opportunities. They're part of the hidden job market. And it really is a term that's used to describe jobs that just aren't advertised or posted online. And just because there is no posting, it doesn't mean there are no jobs. There are actually most of those jobs are not posted. And it may be because they haven't had time to do that, the employer. Perhaps they hired somebody and that person ghosted them. They never showed up for work. They had some sort of unexpected leave. Somebody may have gotten ill, sick, had to leave all of a sudden, and they really need somebody. And in a lot of cases, they don't want to spend the money and the time involved in posting it on a job board and then having to sort through lots of applications. They would rather just either have individuals come by or by word of mouth be able to find someone for the position. So let's move on to knowing the process. So let's take a closer look at how candidates can apply for jobs here in Canada. First of all, in person, walking in. You may even see a hiring sign on a window. Keep your eyes open. Go walking in your neighborhood. In person, you can just walk in there and apply directly. It's primarily used for smaller restaurants or retail stores. When you walk in, you can ask to speak to the manager and make sure you have an elevator pitch ready. And if that's not something that you know about, um, an elevator pitch is a short little speech, a little talk, about 30 or 40 seconds long. And what it does is it allows you to introduce and sell or market yourself to the person. So they're interested in you. Introducing yourself by your first and last name, explaining what you can do for them, what you can offer them, what kind of skills you would bring to that job, what your goals are. And again, within just a really short little talk. And it shows people that you meet that you were prepared when you walked in the door. You weren't just there to get information from them. You came in to let them know about you so that hopefully they'll be interested. You've made a really, really good first impression. That's the nice part about doing those drop-ins like that. It's almost your first little mini interview with them because they get a sense of you in just that short little period of time. So that's an example of a hidden job market, walking into a business that you don't know is looking for jobs quite yet and finding out if they do. Applying online. Most companies accept their applications online, usually through the company website and with a resume and cover letter. If you do apply for those, make sure that they really match the job description. You're really targeting it to that specific job description because it'll really help in ensuring it makes it through the screening process. If you just send a general resume in with very little information, especially very little matching information to that job description, you really decrease your chances of having them look at it. So that's the visible job market. Another part of the hidden job market is using job fairs. In that, you see them advertised in a variety of places. I know they just had one a few days ago called the Canada Job Expo. What you can do is you can register for that. It's an online job expo. And so keep your eye out for Eventbrite. That's one place that advertises them. And they pop up occasionally. The other place you can look for job fairs is on our events calendar, GB Careers, which is still up there from where Natalie posted it. As employers contact us and talk about, sometimes they are job fairs, as this one is, this information session for Four Seasons Whistler coming up. We have employers contact us and they want to do it through the George Brown website. We have employers who contact us to tell us they're offering job fair on through their own website and in some cases in-person job fairs. And we've been posting those to GB Careers events calendar as well. oops, sorry, I didn't mean to go back. Click the wrong thing. The last part is actually applying for the jobs. What's required for it? Well, you're going to be needing a resume, and in most cases, including a cover letter as well. A resume really is required to apply for most jobs. It would be hard to get one without. Should be 1 to 2 pages in length, 2 max. And as I said before, make sure you're targeting it to the job posting. If you're making it vague, how are they going to learn about you and how you're going to be of value to that particular job? You need to let them know how you're going to be a great employee for them by matching the types of skills or experience if they need it. So you need to make sure it's tailored. And what's required on those documents? Well, you can find examples of our sample resumes and resources and tip sheets. You can find them both on GB Careers, and as well we have information, we have resources through our virtual career center. And we'll be putting up our link shortly, the link tree. If not now, then later. There we go, perfect. And you can find access to a lot of both the Virtual Career Center and a lot of our other services on that one specific link. You can also reach out to us in Career Services to make sure your resume is formatted the right way. We have peer career coaches that work daily that can give you resume feedback. They're available for drop-ins. 9:30 to 3:30 Monday through Friday, and they also offer appointments if being a drop-in doesn't work for you. They do offer half-hour appointments that you can book online through GB Careers to sit down and take a first look through your resume and see if it would be a good fit for the job that you're trying to apply for. Knowing the process. How do you find those job opportunities? As I said, through online postings. I recommend taking a look at GB Careers job posting site. And while you're there, you can look at those tip sheets. You can look at our events calendar as well. You can book appointments with either the peer career coaches, and also on GB Careers, you can book with any of our career advisors. They could also help you with your documents. Especially once you've looked with a peer career coach. If you'd like some additional feedback or additional help on your search, you can always book an appointment with any of us. Other types of positions would be that students often ask about are office jobs or look at jobs that are open through student association. When we're on campus, there are usually a number of those, but I'll be honest, when I went on GB Careers, I didn't see any posted. Occasionally, there'll be one that pops up occasionally. So keep your eyes open. Follow our social media, because a lot of times if jobs are available, that are on campus, they would be posted to there. There's also the opportunity for work study. Maybe ask your professors if they need any sorts of assistance with anything. And after second semester, after you've been through your second semester, we do hire peer career coaches. So that would be a position to possibly apply for. Not only do we have our peer career coaches, there are peer connect community coaches who work in wellness, work in the area of wellness for our students, if that's of appeal. There are also tutoring opportunities through the Tutoring and Learning Center. You can look on job boards, anything from Indeed to Simply Hired. Just put in student part-time for the job title, and I put it in, and I was amazed at the number that came up. So you can look on LinkedIn, although LinkedIn is primarily more for professional career employers and alumni. I did find a number of services that were on LinkedIn, though, including Uber Eats. Delivery was on there. And if you are, for individuals, nursing students who would be looking for PSW positions, lots of PSW positions. So they are there as well. Actually, you will find most of your job opportunities, though, as I said, in the hidden job market. And one way to access that is through networking. In other words, talk to everybody that you know. Friends, and that includes your individuals on social media, people through Facebook. Let people know that you're trying to find a part-time job. Not that they would necessarily have one, but they may know, or they may have heard, or they may go into different types of stores or companies, and they may be aware of that as well. Oh, bye, Tyrone. So, all right. So through friends, family, roommates, your fellow students that you're in school with, you can talk with them about opportunities. They may come across an opportunity for you that fits you really well, and they'll let you know, or they may get offered a job and then someone else is needed in that particular company or organization or store, and they would recommend you. Talk to your neighbors, as I said. You may find opportunities to teach right there in your neighborhood. Talk to your teachers, local stores, cafes that you go to, clubs that you're part of, if you're part of a group that gets together and plays sports. There's also the opportunity for gig work. In that, you can work as an independent contractor, doing more project-based work, freelance work with a company with no long-term contract. It's really good if you have a specific skill or you just want to work on your own schedule. One platform you could consider would be Fiverr, which is a task site. It connects businesses with freelancers offering digital services. So if you're good at web designing, graphic designing, writing, there are 300 different kinds of categories of types of individuals that they would bring on for contract work. What you do is you set up a profile, and then somebody will pay you just to do a set piece of work. Uber Eats is another sort of type of work, as I said earlier, that's popular with a number of students. Rover, which is for feeding and walking pets while owners are away. Staffy, which is an on-demand platform. In the past, it's connected a lot of skilled workers in the hospitality field with employers. However, with COVID, they've shifted, and their primary emphasis is more on healthcare. The last thing I wanted to talk about is watching out for job scams. They've always been around, but it seems like with the advent of COVID, they have gone up to another level of complexity. And we're hearing from more and more students who are either aware or realize it's a scam or tell us about it, or have fallen for particular job scams. Here's some things to watch out for. First of all, if somebody's offering cash jobs, keep in mind that companies that offer cash for jobs may not be following all the rules for employment. I would be very hesitant, and I would talk with us if you'd like. Sometimes there is cash exchanges in hand if you're as a subcontractor. However, in most cases, if they're just going to be paying you under the table, so to speak, I would be very careful. Unpaid training. If you're told that you need to train for an extended period of time and you're not going to be paid, they aren't supposed to be doing that. You may have a few hours of training that's unpaid, but you certainly shouldn't be for an entire day or more. And if they're ever asking you for money, never, never, never pay money to them for anything related to applying for your job or training. They may ask you to buy a uniform if it's what's needed. For instance, if you're taking on a catering job or something, but they will not be able to ask you for the money for that uniform. Okay? Or they won't be asking for money up front for you ever. And never accept money from somebody who wants to provide you with payment and then they ask you to pay them back in return. That's one of the most common job scams that we're seeing. Don't do it. They're not going to pay you back. They're going to take your money and run. It's not really a job. It's just a scam to get your money. Here's one to watch out for too. Be careful of companies that you apply to, and then they want to hire you without having ever met you or talked to you. They call and tell you you're hired. I know I spoke with a student that was a student nurse in this, I guess that was last summer, and she had applied to be a PSW to a company, and she applied and they emailed her right back and told her she was hired and required her to send all of this personal information into them. Even though they seemed to be a legitimate company, she was feeling really uncomfortable and came to talk with me about it. If you ever feel uncomfortable about anything related to a job and you don't think something's quite right, feel free to talk to any of our career advisors about that. I looked at it with her and I said, this isn't right. I mean, who in the world would hire someone to be a personal support worker taking care of vulnerable people and not even want to interview and talk with them face to face? So consider that. Don't share any personal information before you've been interviewed. A legitimate employer is going to request that kind of information only after your interview's been completed and references have been verified and they've offered you employment and it's been signed. So personal information like your SIN, your SIN, your date of birth, your marital status, your driver's license and health card and banking information, you want to make sure you protect those and you aren't giving them out to people who are trying to scam you. And workplace safety, if you don't feel safe in any work situation, then don't accept the work. My advice is if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. It's just things need to sound correct. If they're going to pay you ridiculous amounts of money to do not very much work, there's a problem there. That's not how jobs work. So again, if you're unsure and you think something doesn't seem legitimate or right, please come talk with us. And in fact, we have a tip sheet available on GB Careers related to job scams. Take a look. It's a good one just to review. I think it's a good one for all students to review before they're looking for jobs. And what's next? What should you do next? Well, definitely you can visit our Career Center online and take a look for any resources that you would need. You can visit our virtual career, I can't even talk today, our virtual career hub, which is full of resources, both combinations of tip sheets and information you can look at, as well as videos of how to work on your resume, your cover letter, your elevator pitch, and also once you're offered an interview, how to answer some of the interview questions. We have a lot of resources on there. I also mentioned the job search tip sheets, and resume and cover letter examples are also on GB Careers. So go ahead and start working on your resume and cover letter. You can stop in once you've put it together and get some feedback from our peer career coaches. Go and check out job postings on GB Careers, see what you can find. Start networking, talk to everybody. Let them know you're interested. You would really like to have a part-time job. If you know generally what type of industry or what you might be looking for, let them know. And as I said, a lot of jobs you hear about through other people. And finally, you might want to just start doing some research on 5 or 10 companies that you think you might be interested in looking for, to see if they have anything open and if that might be someone you would consider working for. So I think that's it for today. And excellent. Natalie has also just posted something here on job scans that might be of interest for you as well. So I think that's it for today. Coley, do you have any questions? if you do, I'm happy to answer anything. You can just pop it in the chat. I mean, the reality is with one person here, we could probably, if you do have a question, we could even unmute you and you're welcome to ask it as well. So, no, okay, all right. Well, I hope you found some of the information useful today. I tried to cover a variety of things, great, as well as things that might be out there, some unusual things that jobs that people don't think about, but have popped up more as a result of COVID, or there's so much more of a need for those types of individuals. I mean, who knew that so many grade school children would be home learning online? Who knew so many people trying to keep everything clean for everybody? It really has, our world of work has really flipped a bit and changed a bit, changed a lot in some cases, and is going to continue to probably as we go on. So, and again, if you have any more questions, Coley, feel free to, if you have anything specifically you'd like to know, go ahead and you're welcome to make an appointment with a career advisor if you feel they might be able to help you look or personalize it, help you try and figure more specifically related to the skills or types of jobs you might be looking for. Okay. The toilet paper shortage, yes. Whoever would have guessed that? Well, thanks so much for coming and being part of our session today. And I hope that you join some of our other sessions. We have one